chapter 9 of Twenge, iGen, why today super connected kids are growing up, dot, 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 etc. Chapter 9, inclusive LGBT, gender, and race issues in the new age. My prediction for this is obviously how does Gen Z view things that were once labeled, once slash still labeled taboo in some communities. And then it starts off. When the Supreme Court ruled in June 2015 that same sex marriage was legal nationwide, Snickers tweeted a picture of a rainbow wrapped candy bar inscribed "Stay Who You Are." AT&T turned its global logo to rainbow hues, and American Airlines tweeted, "We're on board. Diversity strengthens us all. And today we celebrate marriage equality." I highlighted that portion and I put it's funny that same sex marriage needed to be legalized when in fact it's been something same-sex marriage has been around since marriage has been around, so it didn't make any sense. But because America was founded in a Christian belief system, then it currently needed to be legalized, even though it was supposed to be a separation of church and state. Sorry. Anyway, okay. It's rare for companies to chime in on social issues as they'd rather not alienate their customers. For a company like American Airlines, headquartered in Texas, that could be a lot of customers. But American Airlines and other companies are looking forward toward an iGen future, seeking to appeal to the young consumers who will fuel their bottom line in years to come. Companies know that embracing equality is not just an expectation for Gen Z, it's a requirement. This one, okay. It's not just an expectation for Gen Z, it's a requirement. Okay. From LGBT identities to gender to race, iGenders expect equality and are often surprised, even shocked, to still encounter prejudice. At the same time, equality. Well, let's be more specific. Let's not. Let's That's not true. iGenders often surprised. At this point, the often surprised, even shocked to encounter prejudice. That only comes from a specific section of iGenders. To be truthful, that's not everyone, because black iGeners still being taught about racism and prejudice and aren't shocked to see it. LGBTQ iGeners aren't shocked to see it. So it's really the people who fit into the norm of society that seem to be shocked. That seems sorry to be shocked. To be shocked. Anyway, okay. Thank you. At the same time, equality issues are far from resolved, creating divisions within iGen, as well as generational gaps that can seem like unbridgeable gulfs. The equality revolution has been breathtaking but incomplete, leaving iGeners to come of age after 2017 when issues around LGBTQ rights, gender, race were suddenly back in contention. It's quite, okay, and then I highlighted that part and I said it's quite sad to still have to deal with bigots in this day, from within my own generation. Like, it's truly because there's a lot of iGeners that just follow, even though we have the internet and even though we've been had the internet, it's still a lot of iGeners who just follow whatever their parents or grandparents has said and like wholeheartedly believes in it. So many teenagers and kids have been gone on the internet and said some hateful, bigoted, ignorant stuff, and have had their entire life ruined as they should be, has had their entire life ruined because they said ignorant things. And they were old enough to realize, they were old enough to know not to say something out loud. But, they don't care. So, Cameron has always known about gays and lesbians. His uncle is gay, so he can't remember a time when he thought same sex relationships were out of the ordinary. Perhaps as a result, he takes it for granted that same sex marriage should be legal. There's no plausible reason to be against same sex marriage, he says. Saying you can't marry who you want to doesn't let exist as equals. The oldest iGeners were starting preschool when Will and Grace, the first sitcom with a gay man as a central character, premiered in 1998, and in elementary school when shows as Queer Eye for the Straight Guy made that was a show made being gay not just mainstream but fashionable. iGen teens grew up watching Glee, which featured several gay, lesbian, and transgender teens characters, and they saw numerous celebrities come out. Compared to boomers who were young when gay men were still being arrested at Stonewall, Gen Xers who were teens during the extreme homophobia of the AIDS crisis, or millennials who were adolescents when President Bill Clinton signed the bill outlawing same-sex marriage, and Ellen DeGeneres found her sitcom abruptly canceled after she came out. In contrast, many iGeners will barely recall a time before same-sex marriage was legal, and they'll remember Ellen as a popular talk show host married to the actress from Arrested Development, which they watched on Netflix. I didn't watch Ellen's wife's Arrested Development. Anyway, as the country singer Casey Musgraves, 28, sings, make lots of noise and kisses. Make lots of noise and kiss lots of boys, or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into. Not exactly your father's country song, but it is an iGen country song. I believe people should do what they want with their own bodies. Musgrave says the majority of the younger people that listen to my music don't think twice about the things I'm singing about. In the 2000s and 2010s ushered in a sea change in attitudes toward lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. These are some of the largest and most rapid generational time period differences in existence. Okay. Even many conservative Republican iGeners now support same-sex marriage. Anthony Lewis, the vice president of the University of said in 2000, a true conservative should endorse empowering Americans to marry whom they love, not limit them. The vast majority of iGeners see no reason why two people of the same sex can't get married, because there is no reason. In this graph, the differences aren't due to age, since everyone is 18 to 29 years old, but we don't know how much of the shift is due to a generational trend affecting only young people and not older people, and how much to a time period trend with people of all ages shifting in their views, because the generational social survey includes adults of all ages we can compare the views of all ages and generations in recent years to see the current generation gaps. By 2014 to 2016, boomer, iGeners, millennials, and Gen Xers were all nearly universally supportive of a gay man teaching at a local college. Only attitudes towards gays and lesbians. Oh wait, no. Sorry, un momento. Only Silent Generation members were over. Silent Generation members were over 70, weren't as sure. Views of gays and lesbians' personal lives, however, differ more by generation. In 2014 2016, a slim majority of iGeners still found something questionable. Gen Xers still found something questionable about sex between two same-sex adults. In contrast, two-thirds of iGeners and younger millennials saw nothing wrong with gay, lesbian sexuality. Support from same-sex marriage follows a similar pattern. Even in recent years, LGBT issues. Okay. Jesus. Bigoted straight people always bring up sex when talking. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Hold on. They always bring up sex when talking about uh, gay LGBTQ relationships, because sex is so centered in straight relationships. As like some people don't, there's some people who don't understand relationships that don't have sex in it at all. There's people out. There's Jesus. Some people. Some people they don't understand. Okay, they don't understand relationships without any sex at all. They don't understand the whole concept. So when bigots, when gay people do basic relationship things like kissing or holding hands or being close to each other or showing affection, they always bring up like it's some big thing, when in reality it's because men and women have been so socialized to like so different things and be on so opposite paths that sex be the only thing that connects them together in a relationship, which isn't the same thing as two women and two men because they're both on the same side of the socialization. Anyway, yeah, so sorry. In the recent support, blah, 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 even blah, blah, blah. Okay. For many iGeners, LGBT issues are highly linked to their innate individualism. They take acceptance of others so much for granted that you can almost hear them yawn. My view of LGBTQ is the same as on other people having sex before marriage. I don't particularly care. Ha! That's true. I don't particularly care. Wrote O'Reilly 17. I wouldn't do it, but it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't affect me in the slightest, and I have no right to tell other people what to do or believe. I wouldn't go to a protest for it or anything, but they can do what they want. 12-year-old Harper captures the view of a generation who likely won't remember a time before same-sex marriage. We've never really thought about it, anything about it, she said when I asked her what she thinks about same-sex marriage. When you see two people of the same sex together, it's just like you think, ah, it's normal. You never really thought they were different or weird. You kind of just thought they're the same people as you, just like a different gender. And even many religious teens embrace religion is a fallacy and it's stupid. Um, even many even many religious teens embrace same-sex marriage. Emily, 14, whom we met in chapter 2, attends church regularly with her family in the suburbs of Minneapolis. Minneapolis. Ah, Jesus. Anyway, when I talked to her, when I talk to her older brother, he tells me that their church views marriage as between a man and a woman. Oh God. But when I asked Emily about same-sex marriage, she says, I'm proud for those people. They fought through everything. It's letting everyone be themselves and everyone can be happy. When I asked her how she thinks her generation is different, she says, people aren't afraid to be who they are. Even in the South, the issue is not at the forefront as it once was. As his historically black church in Georgia, 20-year-old Daryl says the pastors never like bring it up. I think because the LGBT community is so big now, maybe we don't touch that. Maybe people should shut up. You ever thought about that? A lot of the like the big thing with like the word or the scripture in part where they were talking about homosexuality, they weren't even talking about homosexuality. They were talking about pedophilia. The man shall not lie with another man as he lies with a woman. Wasn't talking about homosexuality. It was really saying a man shall not lie with a little boy as he lies with a woman. And because the church didn't like that. The church and all the freaky pastors who were pedophiles didn't like that. They altered it, changed it up. So maybe churches, religion shouldn't throw stones in glass houses. Even with a large change in attitude, a third of our generators still have some issues with same-sex marriage, same-sex sexuality, and 1 in 4 questions same-sex marriage. These young people often struggle to reconcile their IGen upbringing with the religious forecasts that homosexuality is wrong. Sophia, 18, and I met for lunch at the food court at a university's campus. She was born in South America and came to the U.S. as a small child, growing up in a small town, high desert of California. A strikingly pretty young woman with beautiful brown eyes and a kind smile. She attends church every Sunday, believes that sex should be saved for marriage. Ugh. She and her boyfriend, who was her first kiss in 8th grade, have already discussed getting married someday. Oh my God! Did you hear that? She said she is currently University San Diego. San Diego University. That's where she is. And her and her boyfriend have been together since eighth grade. Eighth grade. That means eighth, ninth, 10th. That's 5 years. And they didn't say if she was a freshman or not. So I'm going to just say she is like. That's like 7 years. 7 years together. I don't know how people do that. Like, you don't want to go out and, I don't know, see what's out there. And y'all already talking about marriage. Anyway. When I asked Sophia what she thinks about the secularism route on same sex, she says, "That's a tough one for me. I don't think some people are less deserving of happiness than others. God made everyone in his perfect image. There's not a mistake. It makes me really sad when Christians condemn other people for who they are. That's not really the point of being a Christian at all. It's supposed to be the complete opposite. Accepting people for who they are and still love them anyway, because that's what Jesus did, and that's something they forget quite a lot. Yet she says it's problematic when gays and lesbians act upon their desires. God didn't say they are sinful for being gay. Their choice is more acting upon it and acting upon their sexual desires. That's where it becomes difficult, since marriage was meant for a man and a woman. Shut up! Ugh! Jesus. I hate religion. Religion is stupid to me. Excuse me, so sorry. Meant for yeah. Because marriage has been around. Marriage has been around. Marriage has been around. Has been around. Around. Far longer than these monotheistic religions. And yet they think and yet they think they have a right to say that. To say that. Okay, thank you. Anyway. Okay. But I don't believe they are less deserving of happiness, and when they don't act on it, they're missing out on some of that happiness. Sophia has reconciled her Christianity and her belief that people should be who they are, but has not yet accepted the realities of homosexuality or same-sex marriage. Yet Sophia is the exception among iGeners, and with the legalization of same-sex marriage, acceptance will continue to grow. If younger generations are more likely to believe that there's nothing wrong with, does that mean they are more likely to have it themselves? What? Okay, I'm sorry. They are. The number of young women who have had sex with at least one other woman has nearly tripled since the early 1990s. More men now reportedly having had a male sexual partner as well. It's possible that more people are simply willing to admit to have such experiments rather than actually having had the experience. Either way, reporting of same-sex sexual experience is on the rise. Wait a minute. It's called experimentation. Ah! Experimentation. And I've said this for like as long as I've been intelligent. Men are allowed to be promiscuous but not experimental, and women are allowed to be experimental but not promiscuous. And what I mean by that is that experimental. Sorry. The promiscuous. Anyway, what I mean by that is that men are allowed to sleep with as many women as they women. That's not the point, but like society-wise, so men are allowed to sleep with as many women as they want. Rack up a body count so high they lose count. Women aren't allowed to do that, but what women are allowed to do is take the 5 people that it's okay for them to sleep with 5 people, have a 5 body count They take those 5 people, and those 5 people can be like very different. You know, it's like it's in when talking to other people or talking in like the early 2000s, two tens. People are like, yeah, it's normal for a woman to have like kissed another woman or have sex with another woman just to see if she liked it or something. But if you say, but what about a man? They would immediately say, oh no, that man is gay, even if he only did it once and he found he didn't like it. So that's kind of crazy, strange. And then you have the swingers, but I'm not going to talk about that. That's not the point. There is a particularly large group. No. There is a particularly large generational gap in lesbian sexual experience among women born in 1940 to 1950s. Only about, only about, sorry, only about 6 in 100 had a lesbian partner during her lifetime by 2014 to 16, but among those born in the 1980s and 1990, nearly 1 in 7 already have had, even though she lived decades less. Millennial and iGen women are much more likely than their predecessors to have had sex with another woman. Bisexuality, having sex with both male and female partners, is also on the rise. The percentage of adults Americans with bisexual experience during their lifetimes tripled between 1990 and 2016 from 3% to 11%. This might reflect recent trends on college campuses known as LUG, lesbian until graduation, or BUG, bisexual until graduation. Women who have lesbian relationships while young and then date and marry men, also called has been. I don't know. Overall, the large increase in bisexual experiences suggests that many people are having sex with both men and women without necessarily identifying as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Generally, only about 4% of the population identifies, but many more have had some experience with same-sex sexuality. I mean, I always say, experiment while you're young, so you can figure out what you like. And if you don't like it, then don't. But also, I think people have been doing this for years, decades, centuries. Just people aren't afraid to say it anymore. What's the point of hiding it? Why you gotta hide in the shadows? If people mind your business, and you do what you do in the light, I do what I do in the light, mind your business. This flexibility around the gender of sexual partners has led some hygienists to say that people should no longer be labeled based on their sexual orientation. 20-year-old Georgia college student James says, I'm not much of a label person. I would date someone because they make me happy, not because of what their gender is. He told his parents he was gay instead of bisexual because he told me, I know they don't understand that Jesus, that our generation deals with. Several millennial celebrities have also resisted labeling their sexual orientation. Raven Simone said, I don't want to be labeled gay. I want to be labeled as human who loves humans. Miley Cyrus says she's had relationships that weren't straight and notes, I'm not hiding my sexuality. For me, I don't want to label myself as anything. I am ready to love, and anyone that loves me for who I am open. Hear you. Okay. Anyway, so far I read, Jesus, let's see, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. And I have, like, Jesus, many more pages to go. How I'm going to do that, I don't know, actually. I might read it while I'm watching TV or something. But, yeah. What else? I quite enjoy.